share a couple of opportunities we've come across. We really think that you guys are going to be very interested and you're going to learn a lot. A lot of us don't know much about how to use our money and get the most out of it. So today we're going to show you a little bit, teach you a little bit about commercial real estate and investing in it. We're going to start off with a little introduction on our first project. Have Brian and Miss Kim come on up.
We'll put together triple net leases, and triple net leases is freestanding real estate for you to invest in. A triple net lease is a lease where you and I, the owner, have little to no responsibility. And a double net lease is where the tenant has one or two responsibility of three components, whether it be the insurance, taxes, or maintenance of the building. A triple net lease is where you and I, the owner, we're only responsible for the structure of the building. However, an absolute triple net lease, and that's what we're presenting here today, you and I, the owner, we have no responsibility. Such tenants as like Walmart, Target, Walgreens, it's okay, it's your important. Walgreens, Best Buy, they are strong tenant rated craters where they are responsible for the building, right?
This has seen everything, nothing surprising. Under all kinds of stuff, East Coast, West Coast, all over. I'm extremely excited about this whole triple net credit tenant leaseback program, and I've been noticing over the past 2 years actually that it's been an emerging trend, and actually it's pretty much the hottest trend in commercial real estate today across this country. One of the advantages of this is that the leases are guaranteed, or we're actually pursuing guaranteed leases, so your money is safe. The way it works is we'll have, let's say, an established tenant, let's say it's a Walmart, or let's say it's a charter school, or it could be some, a big, like you said, a Best Buy, something like that, that's not going anywhere. Typically what they'll do is they may own the building that they're in, and they'll want to sell the building, pull the equity out, and redistribute that money amongst their company. But they want to keep the building. They want to keep their business there. They have a thriving business. So they'll lease it back. So us, or the investors, kind of going to the property, we're coming up with a down payment. We have to do that, but we're using actually the tenant's credit to qualify. So don't worry about your FICO scores, none of that type of stuff. Instead, do we have the money, and we use the tenant's credit again to qualify for the loan. We're typically trying to negotiate up to 20-year leases. Obviously, the longer the lease, the more valuable the asset is, and the better terms we can get when we go ahead into financing the property. We can actually get a loan that amortizes over 25 years if we have a 20-year lease. We're trying to structure these things so that they return. Typically, our target is at least a 10% return on your money year one. And we're structuring them so that they have typically 1.5% to 2%, sometimes 3% annual increases in rent for the life of the lease. And we're trying to put in options on the leases. But we're negotiating these or renegotiating leases going in as part of the purchase. They're thus controlling the return that's going to come in for the life of that lease. And since these leases are ultimately guaranteed, it's a very safe investment for anyone that wants to invest. Now, where are you going to get 10% of your money? Not the bank. Most of these other programs, you're not going to see 10%. Plus, it's secured by performing commercial real estate with all the tax advantages of real estate. To me, and I've been in this for 30 years, this is one of the best things I've ever seen, and I'm really sold on it. And not only will we be putting together these investments, we have a team. We're going all over the country, specifically trying to vet these properties as we see them. We're looking into the competition, the trends of the area, the local jurisdictions, qualifications. I mean, the whole, every aspect that we can. And so we're making sure that we carefully handpick and choose the best advantages for the investors that we put together at these things.
Properties, they qualify for the 1031 exchange, which makes some of you know. That's a tax rule that'll let you sell like-minded property, purchase this type of property, and be free from that tax and generate future income for your heirs. It also, as it appreciates and you pay down the loan, and that'd be equity for the owner themselves.
Right, as they often we begin with a 10% return, it'll be paid monthly. So you'll get a check every month, and you don't have to do anything. There's no management, there's no taxes, no insurance, nothing. You're just gonna get back, you sit back on your investment, get paid back every month. And it's like she said, it's gonna increase because rent's gonna increase every year. You're going to pay down the loan every year. You're gonna increase equity every year. And so it's, to me, it's a win-win investment. You can have it for long term, and basically it's a retirement policy, but that money comes back guaranteed.
And they have professionals that can put together an LLC, a corporation, or a real estate investment trust, so we can pool together the money for the down payment. And then we can be investors, like I said, you and I together.
This one is Wilberforce University, presented by Brian, Johnny, and Miss Rose.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. We're so excited about this investment. We have been doing our due diligence, researching, and we are ready as investors ourselves. So, getting started, we are going to be presenting Wilberforce University. We're actually not investing in the whole school, but 2 buildings on the property. So we do have the alumni multiplex, which is for recreational use. It is the basketball facility, the college uses it, of course, and as well as the community. Also, we have the Stokes Health and Wellness Center. They are utilizing that building for medical use for the students and faculty, and also for exercise. If we all get some exercise, that's what they use it for. And then they do have a center if you have a board meeting of such. So the community can use it as well as the school. Basically, Wilberforce, has anyone ever heard of Wilberforce, Ohio before you came today? No. It's right outside Dayton, Ohio, like 19 miles away, a suburb. Let's see here. So we are moving forward. Let's see, so Wilberforce is a sale-leaseback with the option to buy in 5 years. The beauty about this one is that Wilberforce wants to buy the building back, so we don't have to look for a buyer in 5 years. And then we have the 2% increase each year, 20 years on the lease. And, go ahead.
Well, Wilberforce College is a private co-ed liberal arts historically black college. It's a HBCU. Now, when you think of HBCUs, you usually think of Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, Tennessee State, so on and so forth. Wilberforce is the first black HBCU. Okay, it's also part of the Underground Railroad. It was founded by the Ohio Conference of the Methodist Episcopal Church, as well as the AME Church. Okay, the AME Church took it over. They bought back they bought the buildings. Some of the notables that have taught there was Dr. E.B. Du Bois. Also, Wilberforce requires all of their students to participate in cooperative education, meaning they go out and they do co-op with other businesses before they graduate. There are only 2 colleges in the country that does that. They're looking to sell 2 student activity centers on the campus, and basically they're doing it to raise money. The 2 centers is the Alumni Multiplex and the Stokes Health and Wellness Center. Rose just spoke on it. I'm going to elaborate on it. The land has an asking price of about $7 million. It's about 48,000 square feet. The school is looking for a buyer to lease back its property after the sale. Okay? Its terms will call for the lease of, I think we said 15, 20 years. 20 years. The 2 buildings host the school sports and student activities. We're exploring all opportunities to include leveraging some of their existing assets. Such a move could help the school with a short-term infusion of capital. Okay? The Alumni Multiplex is on the campus student athletic facility. It housed their boys and girls basketball team. The Stokes Health and Wellness Multicultural Center is basically, they got gyms, they got workout facilities and things of that nature, and it's all state of the art. The school was founded in 1856, which means they're not going anywhere, all right? They're here to stay. Wilberforce continues to build on this sacred tradition. It's a 4-year, fully accredited liberal arts institution offering major programs in business communications, computing and engineering science, humanities, natural science, and social science. The university attracts about scholars from 38 different states and 5 different countries. So you know that your money is safe. Wilberforce is located just southwest of Dayton, Ohio. So some of you, they have all the Black Greeks on campus and so on and so forth. So just to let you know, as far as the HBCU, that they are here to stay. Okay, Ryan?
All of this research went into basically letting you, the potential investor, know of the strength of the investment. Okay, like I said, he's not going anywhere. They have a strong alumni association. They have affiliations with other universities. A lot of the students take classes at the University of Dayton, University of Cincinnati, etc. They're not going anywhere. And so, how is that good? Well, that means your investment is strong. Okay, they actually want the first option to buy the place back. Mm-hmm. So obviously they're going to pay everything that we have all set up, and it's guaranteed, you know, for the life of the lease that we're putting together. So it's a very, very safe investment. And again, this Wilberforce, we have this under contract right now. Okay, we're ready to go for it. But this is just one of many that we have. But we're hand-picking these investments. We're going around, not just taking any of them. There's thousands of them out there. We're looking at these very carefully. And this one, all the numbers work to give you, the investor, that 10% right off the bat of a guaranteed investment. So it's very strong. Could be a Black College, could be a Walmart, could be whatever. This one is a strong investment.
That company is an historic school. I mean, it stands for something. It's a member of the community. Its image alone is a member of the community. It represents something important. And it's also one of the safest investments that Brian has ever come across in the 30 years that he's been in this industry. So it's something to think about. You have cause, save money, and a return. In 5 years, they're going to want to buy it back. It's not too much to think about, but if you have any other questions, please, again, at the end, just refer them to one of the presenters. We're going to move on to our second presentation. We have a thing for schools. We love that. This one is going to be presented by Miss Amandia and, Miss Wanda.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amandia Hewitt, and this is my colleague, Wanda Parker. Okay, so the investment that we will be speaking to you about today is called the Children's Learning Adventure Center. The Children's Learning Adventure, it is a sale-leaseback. It is located in Milton, Georgia. And Milton, Georgia is one of the neighboring cities, which is right next door to one of Atlanta's prestigious cities of Alpharetta, Georgia. Okay. The asking price for this particular property is $13,000,000.9. It is a triple net lease, which again it means you, the owner, have no responsibility of no repairs, no maintenance, no anything. This is a newly constructed building. It consists of 25,737 square feet. It is one of the largest daycare facilities in the world today. The inside of the facility, it consists of, as you can see here, we put a couple of pictures together. It has an indoor basketball court, a culinary classroom for the children, a commercial kitchen for the children to have meals prepared for them. It also has a dance studio, art studio, and several offices for administrative staff. The outside of the facility is 30,000 square feet, and it has outdoor playground areas for 5 different age groups. It has basketball courts, soccer fields, covered areas, artificial grass, that way your grass will never die. And it's pretty big. I've been in the childcare field for 30 years. I just recently changed my profession. So I look at this and I'm like really, really excited. Not just for, I'm really, really excited for as what the property does, because has anyone heard of KinderCare in the building? Okay, and have you heard of Tutor Time in the building? Have you heard of Tutor Time? Okay. Tutor Time and KinderCare. KinderCare is a corporate school. They lease all of their buildings. They do not own any of their buildings. They lease them back and they take their money and put it into their business. Tutor Time, the people that started this school, they owned Tutor Time. And Tutor Time was a franchise, and what they did is they brought a new feel of the way that childcare was going to change. You have the corporate school for as KinderCare, which is the basic daycare center, but then when Tutor Time came along, it kind of changed it a little bit to where it was giving the children more of high-tech things.
And with that being said, actually, it's the state of the art. You know, this is new stuff, new up and coming, and even have the science. And most of all, this is guaranteed. Go back to the slide, please. This is guaranteed, and it was started in 2012 by our sister and brother team, which is Rick and Cheryl Soldier. They were the founders of Tutor Time, and it was established in 1997. And they did really well with the childcare industry, and they set the market for it. And so by them doing that, they sold it to the Learning Care Group. And when they sold that, they decided that they would try and, well, not try, they would open up 54 new sites, and then with an addition of 200 more coming by 2012. And so with that track record, 2020, I'm sorry. With that track record, wouldn't you think that this would be something worth investing in? I didn't hear an answer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, with a track record like that, Rick Soldier, he was an alumni from Arizona State. And he went there and he had 2 majors. He was a double major. He majored in marketing and finance. So with a person like that behind investment strategies, that would be one to be in your corner, right? And you wouldn't mind investing with someone who knows the business, especially the financial part. And then with the financial part, you know how to get it out there and get people involved and wanting to be a part of an investment like this.
In the Milton facility, the corporate will guarantee that the rent will get paid for the Milton facility, but just to give you a little history of the Milton facility as well. The Milton facility, each child is contracted on their own contract. It could be a weekly contract or a monthly contract. And your monthly contract for this particular state-of-the-art facility can be from $860 a month to $2,100 a month. So that lets you know that tuition is being paid because all of the parents are paying out of the pocket. There are no government programs whatsoever accepted for this facility. They have a revenue of just this facility alone of $1.2 million.
Okay, now, this is a brand new state-of-the-art facility, and one thing about it is in a very good location. And so people from all around, when they pass this area, they can see the state-of-the-art facility because it's easy, accessible, and visible. Now, they are centrally located, and within that area are a whole lot of businesses. And so, you know, stores like Home Depot, you know, and then even there, they have schools in the same area. And so with a radius of 3 miles are all different kinds of schools. And with schools come what? Children. And so children have brothers and sisters of the age range of infancy to what, 12 years old. And so if they're in high school, they can pick up the children for the mamas and dads, you know, so that they won't have to worry about trying to get over there and get them. And so another thing is in an affluent area. And not to be, kind of, on the housewives of Atlanta, but those kind of people are in that area, and not just them, it's other ones too, the other ones too. So I won't go into the reality shows. So, the main point is in an affluent area, and that they can afford to have their children there. And so with the ability of them to be able to afford the children there, your investment will be there every month. Okay.
And if for any reason you needed to re-tenant this building, you have several different spaces, offices and several different classrooms in this facility to where it could pretty much be anything. You can turn that into a whole amusement park as large as it is. So money can still be made if that particular tenant was to move out, but I don't see them going anywhere with them already having a history of being in the child care field for 20 years already. So that completes our presentation, and thank you for your time.
So I actually have 2 kids, and one of my boys goes to tutor time, and I'll tell you, I'm one of those parents that cringes when I pay that bill, but boy, I also pat myself on the back for being able to put my kid in that kind of a school. If you care about education, you care about money, and you know that the future of your generation and any generation are the children, you're not only going to get money back, but you're going to be doing something good. And if you have children, it's something to brag and talk about. Like I'm very proud to be able to put my kid in that school. It's amazing. It's over 20,000 square feet inside, 30,000 square feet outside. What they want to do is they want to take the money and they want to push 200 locations in the next couple of years. So the way that you're seeing it is they're not going to go anywhere. They really want to make it, and they want to bring this new kind of education for the children. It's such a strong vision. They've proven it with the last 20 years of their track record. And if they don't work out, I mean, look at that. That could be a shopping mall. That could be anything, really. So if you have any questions, anything at all, it's very exciting. I mean, I will say it over and over. It's an amazing structure what they have for these kids. Their teachers are happy, their students are happy, and the parent. We're gonna bring LT back on the floor, have him say a few things about the numbers, and we also have this exciting raffle we're gonna give out. I'm sorry, I've claimed one of the 2 baskets, but the other one will be raffled off. No, I'm just teasing. But we will be doing that a little bit later. We'll have LT come up and talk a little bit. Thank you.
Hey, so how you guys feel so far?
Excited.
All right. Who's gonna be the first one to write the check? First one gets
I
some
will be
bonus.
post-dated when I got it.
Let's get some bonus. That's it. What we're here for, basically, these are just a couple of examples of projects that we are working on. And as Brian alluded to, we have several projects. And as a matter of fact, this is one of the specialties that we're doing with the company right now. We're basically looking all over the country, and I'll tell you another thing about these projects. They don't come on the market the way we end up getting them, okay? You can look at a particular property, you might say, well, this is not gonna go anywhere, okay? What we have learned to do, my team, myself, we look at that project and we restructure it, okay, such that we can get the returns. That's why you don't see a lot of high returns out there. If you just go out there and say, I wanna buy this property, it's not usually not gonna be that high of a return. Okay, but what we do is we restructure it in order to make the return something that we can live with. Okay, for example, Wilberforce came on the market with a 15-year lease. Okay, we sent in a letter of intent extended to 20 years. Now, what does that do? The longer the lease, the longer the amortization period, which means the lower the monthly payment, which means the higher the cash flow, which is what we're looking for. Okay, and you look at Wilberforce and you say, okay, 15 years, you got 5-year options. How much damage is it going to do to make that 20-year with 5-year options? Obviously, you're planning on staying there anyway. So it did little to no damage to them by extending that lease, but gave a big benefit to us, the investors, simply by restructuring. Okay, one of the other things, Wilberforce actually came in when it came on the market with an annual rent of $665,000. Okay, we extended that lease, we increased the price a little bit, and then we increased the rents to $700,000. Now, again, it's a give and take situation, okay? So by giving them a little more money, extending that lease, increasing the rents, okay, but they got more money. So what does that do for us? Again, more cash flow. What are we looking for right now? More cash flow. We're not looking to hold these properties for life, okay? Our average is gonna be a 5-year turnaround. So what we do after that 5-year, basically, is we put it back on the market. Okay, in the case of Wilberforce, we have a buyer that's there. We already built in a 3% increase appreciation rate on the sale bike, so the resale price is already there. Okay, we know where we're gonna be at that particular situation. Plus you have the 2% increases, okay, at the same time. So now your investment, which started off at 10, which is pretty good to start off, finish with, or anything in between, now goes up, okay, because all we are is a group of people buying a property. And as the rents increase, everybody increases, okay? Now, a lot of people say, okay, where am I gonna get this money to invest in this property? Well, I know some of y'all just, write a check and it'll be cool, no problem. I understand that. But a lot of people have assets and cash and money, shall I say, a lot of times they don't think about they even have it, okay? A lot of people have 401ks, IRAs, whatever, and that money is sitting there and you don't think about it. Okay, and that's a good thing, because the idea of having that is not to think about it. Because the money in your check account is the one you think about, and that's the money that disappears every week. So you put it over there and you kind of forget about it, okay? Now let's look at this IRA, or 401k, or 403b, or whatever that is, okay? A lot of people that have been there at the company for a particular period of time are sitting on a few $100,000 that you don't even think about. Because you say, number one, it's gonna cost me to get the money out. Uncle Sam gonna tax me with the yang, give me a penalty if I ain't old enough, all this kind of stuff. So they say, okay, I don't know if I want to even mess with that, basically. And then the other thing you look at is I want money when I retire, okay? So when I get to that point where, I don't work anymore, and I just want to have enough that I don't have to go back to work. And a lot of people do. I've seen a lot of people do that. They retire, and before you know it, they're back to work. Why are they back to work? Well, maybe they got bored, or maybe they start running out of money, or maybe both. I don't know, basically. But these things are there. Now, let me ask you this. If there was a way to move that money out of an IRA where you would receive a return that is maybe 5 to 10 times as much as the money is making in the IRA, would you be interested in doing it?
Of course.
Okay? And if you would not be interested, somebody tell me why not.
You really don't understand.
Yeah. So now we get down to, if that could be done, we might be interested, right? Okay. I know that most of you here, since you're here, you have some sense of investment, and you know that you can roll over an IRA without paying taxes right now. It defers it. It doesn't go away, but it does defer it. Okay. The situation is when you put your money into an IRA, true enough, they're investing it. And they're paying you probably 1%, maybe 2% if you like. Okay? But they are investing it. Okay? Now, do you believe that when they invest it, that they're making 1 and 2% that they're paying you? That wouldn't make sense either, right? They have to make more money. Okay? So, would it make sense that their investments are similar to what we're doing right here? The only difference is that we're going to go in and make that higher return, as opposed to letting it sit in an IRA or 401k and let them make the higher return and give you 1%. Does that make sense? So we cut that out. When you put money in the bank, what do you think they do with it? Wait for you to come and get it back? That doesn't make sense. No, they got to take that money, they got to invest it. Doing this. Okay? You get a life insurance premium. What do you think you do with the premiums they collect? Wait for you to die so they can get back to you? That doesn't make sense. They, again, have to do something that's going to make way more than what they're going to give you. What we're doing is cutting out that middle situation, and we're going straight to the investment with the high return. Okay? Now, we talked about Uncle Sam. The problem is, if you say, I want to take this money out, then your other partner got to come in and say, that's fine, as long as I get my share. Okay? Which could be, depending on how old you are, a pretty good share. 10% penalty if you're under 59 and a half, plus the taxes that you never paid on in the first place. By the time you take it out, you haven't made any money. It's all gone. But they did build in a rollover feature. Now, why did they do this? I'm going to tell you why. Now, this is editorialized. Don't print this. Turn off the recorder. I'm just kidding. I will tell you why. They built that in so that certain people who knew certain things could move their money around. But those certain things are not publicly put out there, so everybody don't know it. Okay, but certain people, okay, we will say no names. We ain't gonna talk about people that make millions and don't pay taxes, but I have no idea who that is. But certain people, these rules are put in place for that. Okay, and I'll tell you another thing. The more that rule leaks out, then they change the rule. Okay? They've done it many times with bankruptcy. Bankruptcy was a tool used by people on the know, shall we say, for a long, long time. Okay? Where most of us just felt that means you was totally broke. I ain't got no money in my pocket. I ain't got no money nowhere. I'm just broke. I'm bankrupt. No. You can be a millionaire and be bankrupt and move it because it's strategically right to do it that way. Okay? With that rollover rule, how many of you have heard of a self-directed IRA? See? Don't get out. They exist. What is a self-directed IRA? A self-directed IRA is an IRA where you can point to where you want the investment to go. Normally, you put it in an IRA, they invest. With a self-directed IRA, you can say, I want my money to go to this investment. Real estate, whatever. Okay? But we don't know about it. You can roll your investment in an IRA, in a 401k, in a 403b, 457, whatever, to a self-directed IRA, and then point it to this project. No taxes. It's a rollover. And that IRA is now investing in this, and your return is now jumped from 1% to 10%. Simply by doing it, with no immediate taxes. With our investments, we've structured monthly distributions. You have the choice of rolling that over, taking that monthly distribution, and do what you want with it. At the end of the year, you would pay taxes on the amount that you receive, just as though you were taking distributions from an IRA. Only what you receive. Or you can opt to roll it right back into that self-directed IRA and let it do what it do. Okay? These are options that are available. So money is available if you know how to get it. Okay? I believe one of the presenters spoke a little bit about 1031 exchange. A little more common. Most people kind of have, a rough idea of what a 1031 exchange is. Again, it's a vehicle if you're sitting on a property. I know a lot of people that are sitting on properties that they own. I think Moses lived in one of them. They own forever, okay? And they're fine with that because they have no mortgage, so they don't have to have big rents. So the rents normally are lower than they need be. But it doesn't matter because they're not paying out any mortgage anyway, basically. So I got to go up with my tenants. They're good tenants. They've been with me for the last 45 years. So what if they're paying $500? Hey, they're good tenants, you know what I mean? We're going to let them stay there and I'm still collecting money, okay? But now, you have a raggedy property sometime. If you take a 4-unit, a raggedy 4-unit, in a rough area, you're looking at, on the low end, $500,000. On the low end. If you can find one that. I'm talking about a raggedy unit in a rough area. Okay? If that property's paid for, that's $500,000 worth of equity that can be moved over, okay? And start doing something in that situation. Get rid of the taxes or defer the taxes simply by the 1031 exchange, okay? Which we structure that for you, make sure it goes. So you end up with no real immediate tax liability. You end up actually with a higher cash flow, and you keep more money in your pocket. The other thing that a lot of people don't look at when they're collecting these rents, collecting rent, I don't have a mortgage, so I don't have to worry about, how much rent I collect, but I'm gonna collect this rent, and I, pay me a few repairs and maintenance. People will call me at midnight sometime because hair got stuck in the sink or whatever. But, that's no big deal. But then when you come to get your taxes done, you have no mortgage, you have no depreciation, all you got is some money that you and your partner have made, Mr. Uncle Sam. Okay? And he's gonna get his share along with what you thought you made, which is little anyway. So now, we roll this over, we do a 1031 tax deferred exchange, take this $500, $600, $700 in equity, whatever you have basically, and move it into a vehicle where your cash flow by itself is going to be higher, and you're going to keep more of it because now the real estate write-offs pass through to you. The only thing we pay is the mortgage. But what comes with mortgage? Interest. That's a write-off. Okay? So we go out and we get this $5 million loan or whatever it is to purchase this property. There's interest on that loan. It rolls right back to you against your taxes. So not only did you receive more, you keep more. Okay? What's the other thing that we have? Depreciation. How many people have a pretty good concept for tax purposes what depreciation is? Tax purposes, depreciation is one of the things I actually like personally for taxes. When you have income producing property, you can deduct everything you spend on that property. Everything. You can deduct the interest, but you pay the interest. You can deduct repairs and maintenance, but you pay repairs and maintenance. Okay. You can even deduct your travel time to get to the property, but you got to pay for the travel to get there. But you also have a deduction that you don't pay for. Depreciation. Technically, it's called cost recovery, and that's how I tell how old a person is, because they say depreciation, they're old, but they say cost recovery. They don't know what depreciation is. What is that? They just changed the name of it to throw us off, basically. This is a situation that you don't pay. You get a write-off simply for owning the property. Okay? Basically what they do, depending on what type of property it is, residential or commercial property, you take the value of the building, subtract out the land, and divide it by the life of the property, which is going to be 27.5 or 39, depending on if it's commercial or residential. You take that division, and whatever that number is, if that number comes to be $150,000 a year, then every year, in addition to all your other deductions, you write up an additional $150,000 just because you got the building. Okay? Which means, technically, if you made $100,000, you got a $50,000 loss on paper. You pay no taxes. You put money in your pocket, and you pay no taxes. Okay? And depending on your situation, it is possible, not on all cases, for that $50,000 that you lost can go over to your other income and bring that down. So you pay less taxes on that too, in certain situations, not all the time. But this is a type of situation that you will be privy to once we invest in the properties that we're doing. Okay? So now let's back up. How many people think a 10% return is good? Okay, very good. How many people would think it'd be even better if that return went up every year due to the fact that rent's increasing? That's good. Okay. How many people make that investment even better, the fact that you can keep more of it because you have write-offs from depreciation and interest? Okay, so that's even better, right? Okay. How many people feel that what makes this whole thing even sweeter, unlike a CD in a bank, when you put a CD in the bank, they give you 1% or whatever they're gonna do, and at the end of 5 years, you get your money out. Yeah, that's true. They're pretty close to the same. They earn about the same amount of money. At the end of that 5-year period, you get your money out. At the end of this 5-year period, we sell the building and you get a percentage of the sales proceeds on top of that. So you got cash flows throughout the 5-year period, plus a percentage of the sales proceeds of the property. How many people think that's a good investment? Okay. Let me ask this. Is there anyone who feels this is not a good investment? Okay. So that would tell me that we should be ready to move. I don't see what the problem is at this particular point. Okay? So what we're here doing today, and I will tell you this. Normally, like I said, we're working on primarily Wilberforce. The other investments are in line, okay? All of those investments don't necessarily have 10%. Wilberforce return has been negotiated and it is 10% year 1 and goes up from there. By the time you get to year 5, you're in the 13% range. I forget exactly where it is, but somewhere in the 13% range with all of the investment increases on that, okay? We have other properties in line, none are less than 8% to the investor. Okay, so on the low end, we have 8%. We find these properties consistently. What we need, basically, is a strong base of investors so that we can continually do what we do, acquire these properties. When we acquire these properties, people say win-win situation. This is a win-win-win situation. But when we acquire these particular properties, the seller actually wins because we make it sweet enough to him till he wants to do it by the way we structure it, okay? The investors win. Again, 8 and up, a lot of times 10 and up. We've had them higher than 10 year 1, okay? And we as the company also managed to eat another day. And I'm sure you would like us to eat another day. And I would be pretty good sometimes. So, with that pretty much said, on that particular structure, does anyone have